Hello, flower lovers. I'm Carolyn Ellis. Welcome to Design in Bloom, seasonal flowers for your table and home. I often hear people say, I love flowers. I wish I could arrange them. Design in Bloom is my response. In each episode, I will take you step by step through a flower arrangement, low stress, high success. Thanks for joining me. Let's design some flowers for your table and home. Hello, flower lovers. I'm Carolyn Ellis, and this is Design in Bloom, arranging seasonal flowers for your table and home. February is here, and with it comes Valentine's Day. What better occasion to arrange your own flowers for someone you love or for your home? Today I'm going to take you through a Valentine's Day arrangement. Our goal here is low stress and high success. We're going to use 2 containers, what better occasion than Valentine's Day for that, and create a single arrangement with those. The containers I'm using are these lovely mercury glass containers. One is tall and slender with a scalloped top and a nice flare. The other is lower and wider, again a scalloped top, nicely flared. Both have a bulge at the bottom, which visually and physically anchors the arrangement. I'm going to start with the larger, taller of these 2 containers. I do want to mention that it would be possible to use other pairs of containers. You could use pairs of glass containers, like what I have here with the flowers in. You could use your favorite coffee mug and your best friend's favorite coffee mug and put them together. When you have similar flowers and similar foliage, you can create the one arrangement. Let me show you what this looks like, and let me also confess, I've put a little piece of green floral tape right here so I can keep track of the front, and I do that on my turntable as well. For the mechanics, I'm using floral tape clear this time. I hope you can see it. It's a simple grid, 2 pieces of tape in each direction, because this container isn't all that wide. And they're in a grid that just looks like a tic-tac-toe grid. So I'll turn this back to me. I'm going to begin with the focal flower, which is anemone. Roses, red roses, are the #1 flower for Valentine's Day. They say, I love you, loud and clear. However, for this arrangement, I've decided to use a flower that's more relaxed, less formal, more playful. And here I have these beautiful, beautiful red anemones. They have a circle of petals with a wonderful saturated color and an almost black center. The smooth petals are offset with the foliage, which is this very playful fringe of green. So I'm going to cut the first ones to go in the center. And I want them to be about 1.5 times the height of the container. That's a great rule of thumb. I'm going to measure this, just measure it with my eye, and I'm giving a fresh cut. While we're talking about cuts and fresh cuts, I want to show you what I'm using for floral snips. These are Joyce Chen kitchen scissors, and it's really important to give your stems a clean cut so that the flowers can continue to drink and stay fresh for a long time. We don't want to use bad scissors or pruners that will crush the stem and destroy the structure so they can't drink water. These work in the kitchen for all kinds of things, for skin, for bones, for string, for leaves, for stems. But when you get your pair, keep them exclusively for your flowers. Keep handy a pair of regular scissors because you might be tempted to use these for paper, but don't, and never ever use them to cut wire. So going forward now, I'm going to tuck these in here, taking advantage of that opening in the center of my tape grid. I'll place a few more around the edge. I'm keeping in mind here an image of a clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. It's just a guideline giving me a sense of how to place these flowers in a round pattern. What's really, really fun about these anemones is that you can see here the stem often has a really pretty arch. They have a great playful sense about them. A little more relaxed than roses, which tend to have a straight stem. Take this off here. There we go. Good. Come around here. One more. So the anemone here is my focal flower, my primary flower. Next, I'm going to add a secondary flower, and this is Veronica. I chose Veronica because it has a linear form, which is a nice contrast to the round anemone. These have multiple flowers on the same stem, which is pretty unusual for Veronica. And I'm going to tuck these in. I've taken the foliage off the lower part of the stem because it would just be confusing. It's just too messy. So it had leaves like this that went all the way down, and I've actually gone up closer to the blossoms and taken off some of the smaller leaves so that these don't conflict with the beautiful fringe on the anemone and create too dense a pattern. So let me put a couple of these in. You can see this one needs a little bit of trimming. As I've said before, being able to trim your plant material is a really hard thing to learn. It's so beautiful just the way it grows, but in flower arranging, often you will feel that you do need to tidy things up. So I'm letting these be lower than the anemones, and here's a chance for you to take another look while I work on the back. Again, I'm eyeballing the length I want them to be. And I'm keeping this arrangement very airy. One of the caveats of traditional floral design is to leave the flowers so that a butterfly could fly through them, and that's definitely what I'm looking for here today. I want this to feel relaxed. I want it to feel playful. It's February and we can't be in the garden, so I want it to feel like we could be in this beautiful garden. I'm just taking, you can see what I'm doing here, but taking a few of these leaves off to make sure these delicate white Veronica blossoms show. One more of these. There, turn this a little bit. There. This turntable I'm using is actually a kitchen cabinet accessory. I purchased this one at IKEA, but you can find many that will work very well. So for now, I'm going to leave this right here, maybe add one more of these anemones. Let's see, a little bit shorter this time. Definitely have a mind of their own, which for this arrangement is a good thing. I'm happy about that. They also, we have a few buds here. There were more buds when I purchased these, but overnight they opened. Okay, so here we are. Coming back here with this. Let's stay right here. Okay. Then I'm going to add this Italian Pittosporum. Let me grab it here. Just put it out where I can see what the different stems are doing. It's light and airy, and again, this is sticking with my idea to keep this very light. This is a purchased foliage. We probably have something similar to it in the garden, but in Lexington this time of year, we're not out in the garden harvesting. Keeping this very light and airy, thinking about those butterflies. And here, let me show you how this is coming together. There. Here we go. A little bit more of this. Then, the next element is going to be Dusty Miller, which is a beautiful foliage with a gray cast to it. Put a little bit of that in. So here we're back to the front. One more piece. There. It's hard to keep a light touch sometimes, isn't it? Plant material is so beautiful. We just keep on tucking in another piece here and there. Now, this Dusty Miller has a beautiful gray color and a velvet finish to it. And I'm just going to take, it's very large, which works well as a point of contrast, but I don't want it to be overwhelming. So I'm going to find one of these center pieces. We'll just see how this looks. If we like it, that's great. And if we don't like it, we'll take it out. No harm done. Put this right in here. Oh, isn't that something? Look at that. It looks so nice. This plant material, you can't go wrong. It's so beautiful. It's just beautiful. And we're so lucky to be able to get flowers even in the season when we don't have our gardens to draw upon. You put this piece right in here, just a little bit, leaving that nice and open. There. I wondered if the Dusty Miller in the gray color would work with these brass tone containers, but I think it looks great. I think it looks very nice. So here, put a little bit in here, and then I'm going to move on to these tulips. We'll just use one or two of these tulips. There. I've taken the big leaves off. Conditioning is really important to get your flowers ready to be used in an arrangement. Part of it is getting them out of the package, getting them separated, and then taking off extra leaves or leaves that might be faded, giving them a nice fresh cut. For this tulip, I'm going to remove much of this leaf because I don't want it blocking the view of the flower, and just put this in, giving a clear white highlight. There. Just a little bit. See how that's working. Just have a few of these, not very many. I don't need very many. And here we go. Put this right in here. There. Tulips will grow a little with the light. They'll lean toward the light and they'll extend on their stems. But for now, we'll be fine. There. Oh, that's looking great. Oh, they're so pretty. They're just beautiful. Maybe one more. A little bit of white really brightens this up. The red is fantastic. It needs the white to really come alive. I love the texture on the Veronica. I chose it not just for the linear form, but for its very delicate texture. There. Okay. So there we are with the first of these arrangements. And to my eye, this is complete, so I'm going to tidy up just a little bit so I don't drive myself crazy here, and move on to the second container. So as I said, we're creating one arrangement with two containers. And as in a good personal relationship, 1 + 1 is more than 2, so let's see if we can do that. Here, moving things around here so you can see everything. So here is my smaller container. Again, I'm going to line it up. I've made a little tape mark on it, and I have tape again on my container so I don't get too turned around. After I spin this a number of times to show you, it's easy for me to get a little lost. And now, with these beautiful anemones, I'm going to cut them a little shorter. This arrangement is going to be shorter and wider than the previous one. And some of these, I love how these anemones present on their stem, often with a pretty little twist. Here we go, looking for one that's just right. Just a rakish angle that's a lot of fun. A little bit relaxed, a little bit playful, just like a lot of personality. So in this arrangement, we're talking about personality. Here we go. Ranunculus is another flower that has a simple stem and a beautiful round blossom. That's a great one for a Valentine's arrangement that's something other than roses. So here we have the anemones in place. And next, Veronica, right? Look at this. This one looks pretty well ready to go. Just tuck this in, give it a little light touch, inviting the butterflies to come on through. There, whoop. And here, take a few of these small leaves off just to be sure these delicate white blossoms will show. Want them to, great. And cutting in here, there. Take all these leaves off. And again, these have a nice little turn to them, which is fun to work with too. Let me turn this and show you how this is doing. Looking pretty good. Now, Pittosporum again, so let me bring this back. Find some pieces that aren't too tall. Can tuck in. One of the things you'll learn as you do more and more flower arranging is to value foliage. To really note what's available in your garden or at a place like Wilson Farm, Trader Joe's, even the grocery store, in terms of color, shape, form, and how that can work with everything else you're doing. Provide a little contrast, a little bit more color. And do pay attention to the greens. Are they a blue green? Are they a yellow green? Are they just a warm, rich green? You may wonder, why do these not really work together? Sometimes it's just because the greens are not in the same family. So, one more piece here. There. Now let me clear this away so you can see. I don't know about you, but a messy work surface is a challenge. That makes life difficult. All right, so here's where I am so far. I've left the back of this a little lean as I left the front of the tall one a little on the thin side. Now let's try the Dusty Miller and see what that's going to add to the picture here. Try some single leaves. Oh, I just love that. Oh my goodness, so pretty. Look at that. Just, the velvet is just want to touch it. It's so soft looking. As I said, here in the summer in Lexington, it's certainly possible to grow Dusty Miller in the garden. So that's a nice addition. It's very drought tolerant, so it's a great addition to the garden. So here we are, and then I'm going to add a couple of tulips. Turn this back to me so I can see what's needed here. Oh my, it looks so pretty. This looks so pretty. Oh my gosh. Just love these flowers. They are just so sweet. So sweet. So I hope you're seeing that you can use roses for Valentine's Day and you can arrange them beautifully, but there are other possibilities that can be a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. Maybe one more of these here. Let's just see. Tuck this in. Okay. Now, it's time to put these together and see how they work. Have this here. And here's the tall one that I made previously. Let me keep track of the front with this piece of tape. That's pretty important. And look at this. There we go. What do you think? Is it working as a single arrangement? I've offset them. I have a little bit more I want to add to these. Let's get this out of the way. As you all know, variegated ivy is my absolute favorite plant, bar none. And I've brought some ivy here. I'm going to cut a few pieces with my floral snips, my Joyce Chen kitchen scissors. Nice sharp cut. Just let a few pieces pop out here and there. I love the 5-pointed leaves. I love the pale green and the creamy white colors. And of course, for flower symbolism, ivy means fidelity and affection. What could be better than that? Tuck these in. We do want to be breaking the edge of the container, just softening the relationship between the plant material and the vase. And then take these off, take my little markers off, and we'll bring these together with a longer piece of ivy that we can tuck from one to the other. We'll make an actual connection here. We'll tuck this in right here and bring it down and let it reach over to this arrangement. It's subtle, but it's there. So as with good personal relationships, 1 + 1 is more than 2. And we'll bring this right under here and bring it right down and in. I'm done. This arrangement is complete. 2 containers with red anemones, white tulips and white Veronica, Dusty Miller with its beautiful gray leaves, and Pittosporum and ivy that are variegated, soft green and cream. What are our takeaways from today? Use sharp snips to cut your flowers so that they can continue to drink and stay nice and fresh for a long time. Consider for your tallest flowers to be 1.5 times the height of your container. And if you want an open area arrangement like this, keep in mind that you would want the butterflies to be able to fly through and amongst the blossoms. Looking at flowers, certainly roses for Valentine's Day are wonderful. They would always be a great hit, very well received. But you might think about flowers like these anemones or even ranunculus that have a little more personality, a little more individuality. Here we're aiming again for low stress, high success. 1 + 1 is more than 2, as in many personal relationships. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Carolyn Ellis, and this is Design in Bloom, arranging seasonal flowers for your table and home. Best wishes for February and for Valentine's Day, and I look forward to having you with me again.